It's time to nerd out. With your hosts, Wes, Ben, and Jeremy. This is Two Nerds and a Jock, an entertainment podcast. Movies, video games, comics. Are you not entertained?
Welcome to the first episode of Two Nerds and a Jock.
Hey!
With your hosts, I am Wes.
Ben.
And I am Jeremy.
This podcast is all about just talking about entertainment, movies, video games, TV shows, really anything pop culture related. We'll be diving into some topics about the latest news, playing a couple of games, and really just BSing around because we're not professionals.
At anything.
No. So before we jump into that, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and kind of the stuff that you'll cover on the podcast or even just react to if you don't know anything.
Outside of doing movies and stuff like that and writing, I've never really done something like this before where you just show up and talk and you don't have to get all pretty for set. You just can show up in your pajamas or a Superman bro tank. So
it's a very nice Superman bro tank.
Super exciting. I like your shirt though. Mine's all like old and cracked and yours is like,
oh, thanks.
Just a beautiful Nightwing shirt.
Thank you. I keep this one reserved for days when I'm feeling superhero-ish.
Oh,
yeah.
Gonna go save some people?
Yep, you know it.
Be that hero, baby?
You got it.
And just to break it down for everybody, outside the podcast, a lot of us, actually all three of us, are in the film industry. I myself do writing, directing, a little bit of acting. Ben himself is an actor and a writer, hopefully a director at some point.
Work in progress.
And Jeremy is also actor, pushing him to be a writer-director as well.
But mostly just actor right now.
But they're both prettier than I am, so
not true.
I decided to hide behind the camera.
He lies.
But, so how I would like to start off the podcast is with a little game. I will come up with a more clever title, but right now I'm calling it...
Name that.
Basically what will happen is I'll play a 5 to 10 second clip from a film, TV show, video game, whatever. And we'll flip back and forth between the two contestants here, Jeremy and Ben. Whoever can guess 3 different aspects of the film, which will be name of the film, actor saying the line, and who directs the film.
This is going to go so poorly.
We'll get a point for each. However, if one misses the opportunity to guess something, I will switch to the other person on that same clip and see if they can fill in the blank. If they can steal the point, great. More points for that person.
This is nerve-wracking.
I
don't know directors.
This is same. It's like we're all in the film industry, but we're so uninformed.
Right?
It's sad. Right. We're just people are gonna be so mad at us.
Well, if audience members can guess better than you, I'll just kick you two out and bring in audience members.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'll just leave now.
All
Bye, everybody.
So, we're going to start with Ben.
Oh, God.
Come on, big guy.
All right, your first clip. Ready?
Yep.
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
That's not fair. You gave him the easy one.
That would be Mel Gibson. And, oh my God. It's,
Seriously?
I had it too.
You know you can still not yet, though.
No, when it was playing, oh God, it's, you can take our land, but you'll never take our freedom.
This will be timed if you take forever. I'm just saying.
Oh, it's Scott's, oh God. Guys, this hurts. I had it when it was playing.
This movie's iconic.
It's
I
everything.
I don't know the director's name.
4, 3, 2,
Damn it.
1. All right, Jeremy.
It's Braveheart.
Braveheart. And in my head, I kept going, it was B.
So disappointed.
But, so does that mean
I don't know the director's name, though.
So does that mean it's a tie?
Is it a tie?
Nobody wins?
No, you both get a point.
Oh,
both get a point.
Because
High
you
five.
got one for the actor and you got one for
The movie.
the movie.
Oh, so we don't
The director,
Together we're better. Together we're better.
Always.
The director is Mel Gibson.
Was he the director of the
He
movie?
was the director.
Oh, wow. I suck.
Trust me, I did all my research to make sure I'm not misinformed.
I thought he didn't start directing until way after that. I thought there was a couple DUIs between that and when he started directing.
Oh, crap. And cue Mel Gibson's lawyers in 5.
I would like to add a disclaimer that Ben's opinions do not reflect that of Two Nerds and a Jock podcast. Thank you. All right. All right. I got another classic for you. This one's Jeremy.
Okay.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
That is your clip, sir.
I'm totally going to mess this one up. The actor is...
There's two big ones.
There's two big ones there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure I have this one. Take your time. It's good. It's cool.
Can I hear it
We
again?
do have a schedule to keep. It can't take forever.
One is Robert De Niro, right?
Oh, so you want me to play the clip for you one more time?
Yeah.
All right.
That's a thing?
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth!
Oh no,
You can't
I'm an
handle
idiot.
the
No,
truth!
I'm sorry. It's Tommy Lee Jones and
You're just
I don't
helping him
know,
when you
it's-
make comments like that.
Jack Nicholson.
Thank you. I was really worried.
I know. It's Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise.
I don't know.
Even though there's two actors, I'm making that 1 point because it's an actor. So if you
Okay.
guessed one or the other, it
Yeah.
was fine. All right. Name of the movie?
I don't know. I can't think of it.
Director?
For me. No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Ben?
I'm like 93% sure it's a few good men.
Damn it.
Goes to Ben.
Damn it.
Director?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Tom
don't
Cruise.
Rob Reiner.
Rob
This is
Reiner.
his- this is his
So
name.
who was the second voice in that clip?
Yeah, it's Tom
You're right.
Cruise
It's
and
Tom
Jack
Cruise.
Nicholson.
Okay.
You got
Yeah.
both.
I know the scene. I just
Everybody
haven't
knows
seen
that
it.
scene,
Yeah, I haven't
man.
seen the movie in like. I don't know,
Well, so
10 years.
I mean, I did my homework. I chose classics, and I also chose more
Yeah.
recent one. I shifted around.
That's fine. That's
All right, this next one. All right, is for Ben.
Oh, God. All right, let's
Again,
do this.
again. Even if you name one actor, it's fine. But
like I said, for film people, this isn't going very well.
well, I look great.
Wes looks great.
Again, actor, name of the movie, director. Ready?
Bang, 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 you're dead. Pow, pow, pow.
Stop!
This is the end.
Yep.
Jonah Hill. And it was... that's a Seth Rogen, I think.
All three correct.
Oh my gosh. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah,
You've never
it's a
seen This Is the End?
I've never
it's
seen
it's
this.
before he gets
Oh,
demonically
man.
possessed by like booty, and he
What?
That's not quite how that goes.
That's totally how it goes. That is totally how it goes. Because they find the gun and he's just like bang, 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 and then later on he gets.
I think we need to have a movie night, Jeremy.
Yeah,
It's
clearly.
a classic movie. I love that
That's
movie.
a classic movie.
Channing Tatum is
Don't.
Well, you need to watch the movie.
Experience
Channing
the movie.
Tatum might have been in that movie for a hot minute. You'll love it.
Oh no.
You'll love him. It's
I
cool.
don't want to.
It's his best role ever.
I'm scared now.
It's pretty good. I mean, he came to play in that movie.
Yes, he did. His A game.
Oh jeez.
You should watch it.
Also, just to kind of add a little tidbit, so there was a second director. So co-director Seth Rogen and the other gentleman's name is Evan Goldberg. I didn't really dive too much into him. I don't know much about him, but yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
All right,
Oh,
Jeremy.
Man, I'm gonna lose.
You
This
got another classic.
Okay, another classic.
You got another classic. So, ready?
And what the hell is that smell? I could have been at a barbecue.
This is one of my favorite movies.
I hope you mess this up then.
No, seriously. It's Independence Day.
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith.
Yep.
And I have no idea who the director is. Like,
Is that
I don't
for
know
the steal?
directors.
Michael Bay.
Roland Emmerich.
I just threw it out there. I don't know. And after it left my mouth, I was like, there was no Michael Bay explosions in that
Alright.
movie, so I guess
I mean,
that doesn't
there
make
were
sense.
a lot of explosions, but
no
not,
Michael Bay
but not like
explosions.
Michael Bay explosions.
You gotta have like the trickle down magnesium effect. I don't know what he calls it. That's what I'm gonna call it.
I only know big name directors. That's it.
Yeah.
Which
Well-
means I know nobody.
Starting to disappoint me, man.
I know. I
Podcast is two nerds and a jock, and the jock is ahead by a point.
I know. Can we talk video games? Give me a video game clip. 'Cause I'm sure I'll win that.
I didn't
round.
pull video games yet because I wanted to ease transition on really well-known movies and
Darn
content
it.
first.
Darn it.
All right, so that was Jeremy's clip. We are now.
One more each.
I'm starting to feel like Ben's getting the easy ones.
Well, to be fair, I've never seen This Is the
To be
End,
fair.
so, but that's fine. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some that
All right.
Ben hasn't seen either.
Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't know. Now I'm worried. His pecs are dancing.
Ready for the next clip?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Man, what are we, a team? No. We're a chemical mixture that makes chaos. We're a time bomb.
That's too easy.
I underestimated how good he would be at this game.
So it's. I'm trying to think of the actor's name. That's I can never remember his name.
I don't get the name.
Well, it's the
I
Hulk.
don't care about the character. I
it's-
need the name.
I know. It's Hulk, and he's talking about himself. I'm trying to remember which movie that one was in. Oh god, and that's
Should have downloaded the Jeopardy theme.
Oh gosh.
Which movie is that from, though?
I know.
He's so confident.
I hate you.
He's so confident. He knows. All right. Well, give me an answer. You gotta give me at least one answer here, because
I can like see it too. It's that's my cheek.
do you want another replay like Jeremy?
Yeah, I'd love that. Do that again.
Okay.
Don't worry. His name is escaping me, too, even though I know it.
Man, what are we, a team? No. We're a chemical mixture that makes chaos. We're a time bomb.
I'm gonna go the first Avengers,
Okay.
and his name is. It's a fun one. It's not like a normal common one like mine. It's actually fun. It's different.
I'm gonna have to count you down if you can't guess it.
It's I don't have it.
You don't have it? Director?
Gun.
All right. So you got it. First Avengers. Jeremy?
So, the directors, and I'm sorry if I get this wrong. I should know this one.
Oh, it's the brother or the. Go for it. I'm just gonna sit back and.
No, it's not. It's not the Russo brothers for this one. The first Avengers was directed by Joss Whedon, right? Yes,
Joss.
that's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said Josh. I'm sorry.
Joss Whedon, King of
Yes,
the Nerds.
you got the right name still.
And then the actor's name who plays the Hulk in that movie is,
It's specified. There's been a couple.
well, it's not Edward Norton, that's for sure.
Nope.
And I don't even know the first guy's name. It's not Andre the Giant either.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
All right, he's getting his nerd
Lou,
credit back.
Lou Ferrigno.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's Lou
it was
Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno. That's
Lou
what
Ferrigno,
yeah. See, he's getting nerd credit too. I said Andre the Giant. I don't know why I said that.
I just shook.
Was
my
that
head.
your guess?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, then what's your guess?
I heard it was his guess. I think he's wrong.
I can't remember his name for the life of me. Right
Oh
now.
my lord, I'm
It's
so
just-
disappointed in both of you.
It's early. Leave me alone.
And it hurts because I know it.
Yeah,
I know
same.
you know. I know that
I know.
you know it.
I know it. I cannot think of it for the life of me right now.
All right, I'm gonna take that point away.
Fine.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo.
Hey,
I knew it.
duh, it's Mark Ruffalo. How did
Yeah.
you know that?
Shut up.
The best, most beautiful looking Hulk there is.
Professor Hulk.
Professor.
Professor Hulk.
Man, you could have tied it.
I know.
6-5.
My head is killing me right now.
Like
Dude, that
the
was in
party
your
last
realm
night?
too. That
I
was
know,
like
I
right up your
know.
alley.
The thing is, like, I know all the Avengers' names, which is killing me.
Okay. Well, I think this next one for
I just-
Jeremy is going to be an easy one as well.
Oh, sweet.
I'll be disappointed if you don't know this.
Oh, okay.
This one's
You should
in
let
the
him
realm
down.
of all nerds,
Let him down.
just so you know.
All nerds.
All right. Ready?
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
A scratch? Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
Well, what's that then?
I've heard worse.
You liar!
Come on, you pansy.
You liar! Come on, you pansy. So the movie's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay.
The director is it the same? Is it the same as the
You
lead
can
actor?
ask the questions.
I can't give you answers. It's your
That's-
answer.
Oh man, what's his name? It's too early. I'm fried. I don't know. I can't remember.
Actors?
I can't remember the actor's name. I know it. I know who it is. Damn it. My dad loves Monty Python, so it's like I should know this.
If you don't let him listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
He's gonna be mad at you.
I know he's gonna be so mad. It's John. No, it's gone.
All right. Ben, any guesses?
I'm gonna say it's directed by Monty Python
Any
and
actor
Gene
guesses?
Wilder.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh my god.
I mean, I know he's in all the Mel Brooks movies. I'm
That's
just
out
throwing
there.
it out there
That's all right.
because I'm drawing a blank.
Well,
too.
just so you know, a lot of us never dove into
I don't know who
the director of those movies. I just like watched them.
Yeah.
So even the directors, I was like, I would never guess this, but I knew you would guess the movie at least.
Yeah,
So the actors, King Arthur is Graham Chapman,
Graham Chapman.
and the Black Knight was John Cleese.
That's who I was going for, John Cleese.
Yeah. And then directed by Terry Gilliam and Terry Jones. I mean, they did like all the stuff.
Yeah.
So that means it's
Because John Cleese
tied.
is in so many other movies too. He was even in a Bond movie, 2 Bond movies.
Oh, which ones?
He ended up replacing the original Q. I'm pretty sure that was
Oh.
John Cleese, right?
Well, I would have to look that up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. Look at you bringing the facts. I was starting to doubt you were a nerd.
right. He did tie
I'm
it
sorry,
up at the end.
it's
now.
early,
You are tied.
and I haven't finished my caffeine yet. This episode brought to you by caffeine.
Well, we'll hopefully aim to record a little later in the future. Some of us just don't plan well.
I'm sorry.
It's all good, I guess. All right. That was Jeremy's clip. So the next one for Ben. All right. Ready?
Yes.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
Very popular movie.
I know, and it's one I've never seen.
I don't think I've seen that movie
It's
either. I don't recognize it.
Anchorman, Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
What?
I've never seen the movie. It's Anchorman, Will Ferrell. And I've never
That's
seen
a good guess for not seeing it.
I know his voice and he does the Ron Jeremy thing.
That's
Ron Burgundy.
Or Ron Burgundy. Oh gosh, that.
Yeah, let's no.
Swerve. Not that
Swerve
kind
quick.
Not that kind of show.
That's a point.
I don't know who. Well, it's 2 points, right? Because I guess the movie and the actor.
Mm-hmm.
I just have no
He
idea
did,
who directed
which is
that.
sad. I've actually seen that movie, but
So-
I don't
I've
know
never
it that
seen
well.
either one of them.
Okay.
Craziness.
So I guess those are other questions. So the first one talking was Paul Rudd. And
Oh, okay.
The one responding was Will Ferrell. So yeah, that's still a point. You get someone else
Okay.
talking.
Yay!
Never seen the movie, so obviously, you guys have never seen the movie, so obviously you won't.
I was gonna say I have seen the movie, I just don't remember it. I've only seen it once, I think.
Well, the director is Adam McKay. Again.
I'm still happy I was
Yeah,
able to get
dude, that's awesome. Good, go you.
high fives.
High five.
All right. Jeremy.
I deserve to lose because of that.
I mean, you're losing anyway. So.
I'm just saying now I've earned it.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, go for it.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Throwback. And it's funny because you said it earlier. So the movie is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The actor is Gene Wilder. And the director, I don't know who directed the original Willy Wonka.
I have no
Was
idea.
that? I don't know. See, I told you I don't know directors.
Above my pay grade.
Yeah. I love movies and I love movie lines and actors, but I can't ever remember directors' names, which probably makes me a terrible person.
Be better.
Anything for you? director?
No.
Mel Stewart is his name.
Mel Stewart.
Never even heard of it.
I'm learning so much.
Right? And that is what we're all about. And that is why we're here, to learn about things that ultimately will never get you anywhere. Movie knowledge.
Useless knowledge.
That's not true.
Unless you're going to play a game on here. But actually, that puts you like a point ahead.
What?
Because you were only one behind. I was 2 guesses. So.
What?
You got 2. All right. Ben, this is the final clip on your end.
You're going to come back with the win, aren't you? All right, let's hear it.
This is again, I start getting a little more, because you got some easy ones and I started to, whereas I started a little harder and winged a little easier, so.
See, I get it. You're protecting your fellow nerd. You want him to stage the comeback. I get it.
I started you easy.
He did start you really easy.
All right.
True that.
So this movie, I like this movie, but so I hope you guys have seen it.
I liked this girl. Yeah, I loved her. What'd she do? She took a giant on my face. Literally.
Literally?
Not literally. It's disgusting. Jesus. What's the matter with you?
I have no idea. Can you play it one more time?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to hear, like...
I liked this girl. Yeah, I loved her. What'd she do? She took a giant on my face. Literally.
Literally?
Not literally. It's disgusting. Jesus. What's the matter with you?
I have no idea.
I know you guys know the actor.
Well, yeah, it's I'm pretty sure because the voice I have no idea what that's from.
Yeah.
But the voice sounds like a young. Wow, this is embarrassing.
You already got it twice, so I'm not gonna play it again.
The Pirates of the Caribbean actor, Johnny Depp. Is that a young Johnny Depp?
No.
So I have no idea. To me, like
right.
one of those voices sounded like a young Johnny Depp. Do you have any
crack on the actor?
No, I have a crack on the actor. I don't know.
Okay.
On any part of any bit of that?
I didn't recognize any of that.
So
I've never seen that movie.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Really?
From 500 Days of Summer.
I've never seen that movie.
I've never seen that movie.
You should check it out sometime. It's a fun movie. I like it.
I've heard good things.
Okay. Well, actually, I wouldn't say fun.
I've heard good things as of this moment.
He's a very obsessed person with this girl that like kind of leads him on. So, and just for factual throw out, that is directed by Mark Webb, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
So,
are you ready for your super easy one now?
Oh, dude! If you do not get this, you're. I'm just.
This game is rigged.
It's gonna be something from Star Wars or like
something.
No, not Star Wars, but
Indiana Jones.
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it.
So that's Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
Batman, the original.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Burton.
Woo! Jeremy for the win.
Can I get extra points if I can tell you who did the entire sound score?
I would give you an extra point for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe it was Prince. I think he did the entire instrumental, like all of the instrumentals for that movie.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. We'll have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure it's Prince.
Prince I already know the answer to this. I'll give you a point, but you still lose.
I said 1 point, not 3 points. That's awesome.
So Prince did do like, the track release, like when they released like, the movie soundtrack, but the score was composed by Danny Elfman.
Okay. So I was halfway there. I knew Prince was involved.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah. There's actually a track played at the end of the film during the parade when he's like throwing money out everywhere. And
yeah, that's definitely Prince.
Mm-hmm.
He pulls out his like 27-inch long.
It's ridiculous.
Revolver. That's yeah.
That moment in that movie always makes me laugh, even though I know it's coming, because it's just so obnoxious.
That movie, though, like overall, is probably one of my favorite superhero movies. If we're gonna go down, it's just everything about it. Tim Burton, what he did with it, and the actors, and just how it looked, how it felt. It felt good.
Mm-hmm. If I was to ever, so here's the thing: we were ever in Ready Player One situation, and I was a millionaire and I died, and they had to go into a movie, that'd be the movie of my choice. Is Tim Burton's Batman?
Oh, I could totally solve that mystery.
Oh yeah, people that know me would totally know to go there. They'd be like, I'm not clever. Be like, it's a Batman movie. Where there's 20. Which one was his favorite?
Yeah. It'd be pretty easy to figure out because Wes wears Batman shirts every day.
Every day. We go to the gym.
Batman shirt.
Every time.
Yep.
Just a different one.
He's wearing a Batman shirt right now.
Who's the real...
The classic Batman shirt, too.
Yeah.
Who's the real MVP in my eyes, though?
What do you mean?
Who's tattooed on my arm?
Oh, Deadpool.
Oh, Deadpool. Oh.
Jeez.
I was like, what?
So DC, it stands Batman's my favorite. Marvel, Deadpool's my favorite. And for those wondering, I liked Deadpool before he was cool. Just gonna hipster that.
You did have the tattoo, 15 years ago?
Yeah, right when I graduated high school. That wasn't that long ago. It's getting there though.
It's getting there though. Well, I just want to timestamp it, so when people are like, "Oh, you're just a bandwagoner," no, you had the tattoo before the movies came out.
So, fun fact: I actually did not know much about Deadpool until a video game. I played Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
The original?
Yeah.
Nice.
Was that the one where you played from up above?
Yeah.
Characters ran around. It was like PlayStation 1 or something.
They did it on a few consoles, yeah. Okay. They did it for the Wii. I think it was PlayStation 3 at that time because the Wii was out around the same time as the PlayStation 3. I think. Your video game, you better check me on that.
That's pretty close, yeah. The Wii came out right around the time PlayStation 3, Xbox 360.
Which would also mean I think it was on Xbox as well. But yeah.
Just a little bit before that.
I would dig through the character roster and I'm like, this character, I did the same assumption anybody that doesn't know comics would do. I'm like, this character looks like Spider-Man, but it's not Spider-Man. So I chose him, and as I'm playing through the games, the voice actor and the directors of the game are brilliant because they always have him insert just smart-ass comments and jokes, and I'm like, I love this guy. So I dove into it comic-wise. I'm like, oh, this guy's great, and so
he can talk to me.
I love the character. He's always been kind of my favorite.
Breaking the fourth
And
wall.
then I have to say, just on that continuation of how awesome Deadpool is, picking Ryan Reynolds to play Deadpool after years of the comic book character just being amazing, perfect casting choice. I mean, and I know he wanted to do it, but they couldn't have gotten a single person that was better.
If I'm correct, I don't know if it's true or not because I haven't actually spoken to Ryan, but when they released Wolverine Origins, he did everything right at the beginning of the movie, and then they totally botched it at the end of the movie. And from what I understand, Ryan was not in agreement with that.
You think so?
How it went?
I mean, have you seen that alternate ending to the Wolverine Origins movie?
He definitely ripped it. They also shredded in the Green Lantern, which was another choice he made.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But anyway, I think it was good that he still stuck to the character and course corrected.
Right.
That. Super nice. And that also leads into my other favorite DC character, Deathstroke, which...
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this history. I think I've explained it to Ben 5 times.
19 or 20 times at the gym. It's
but again, I don't know if this is all facts, but from what I understand, Marvel came out with a character called Taskmaster, which I hope comes in the movies eventually.
I do know I believe he's the newest villain for Titans season 2, I think.
Deathstroke, not Taskmaster.
Oh no, that's right. I'm sorry. Taskmaster is for
Marvel.
Marvel, he's
in the new video game that's coming out.
He's in the new video game that's coming out, but he's also the main villain, I think, for the what's that? The new Marvel's Phase 4. It's got the Black Knight.
Are they putting that? That's news to me. I didn't know that.
I think he's supposed to be the main villain for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, just so you understand, just because I don't know if I've dove into Taskmaster before.
No, help me out here. I have no idea what's
going on. Has the ability, he has photographic memory really when it comes to fighting styles. Mm-hmm. So he'll watch anyone fight and he can match it exactly for forever. And so really, in my opinion, only superpowered people are more of a threat to him versus regular people like Hawkeye, Black Widow.
So now does that power transfer over more from martial arts? Could he
Well, it's I don't know if he's a mutant or not, but he just has the ability to watch someone and mimic it forever.
If he sees somebody who's like Deadshot, someone that can just hit the target every single time, right? Is he able then to replicate that by just because he can basically, so he's basically looking at everything, whether it's the muscle fibers or whatever, and their movement, the technique, and bam, he just can do it.
Yep, he's got a kinetic memory.
Okay.
In my opinion, he's a little overloaded because he'll always walk around with guns, a shield because he mimics Cap, a sword because he mimics other people. he carries all this stuff because he's been studying these people.
So he's more than a chameleon. I mean, he just can totally be.
So he's a really cool character, and in my I actually learned about him through Deadpool comics because Deadpool can't be killed and was obsessed with just fighting him and like learning from him as well.
That's awesome.
And so Taskmaster always just got annoyed with Deadpool and tried to like get rid of him and kill him, but obviously it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So Deadpool's just that a consistent.
I'd like to
annoyance.
apologize for my slip up about saying he was the Titans villain. I was watching Titans stuff.
Oh no, I'm cutting all that out in post. I'm going to make sure that you are seen as somebody that doesn't know a thing.
Thanks.
You're the worst nerd ever.
It's so bad.
But anyway, sorry, I went down a rabbit hole there. So Marvel makes Taskmaster. Marvel and DC tend to mirror each other's characters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe DC was like, oh, that's a cool idea. So they made Deathstroke, which is one of my favorite DC characters. Now, he isn't like Taskmaster in like the fact that he can mimic fightings. He's just an ultimate fighter, really.
Right.
He is really well trained, marksman, swordsman, bow staff, all that stuff.
Just all around badass.
Well, Marvel sees DC make this character and is like, that looks familiar. And they're kind of irritated about it. So they make Deadpool to basically make fun of Deathstroke. So Deadpool in himself was created out of spite and a joke, which...
Because one of them's named Wade Wilson, and what's the other one's name?
Slade Wilson.
Slade Wilson.
So Deathstroke is Slade Wilson. Deadpool is Wade Wilson. If there was not a clearer moment of, hey, I don't like what you did, it's that.
It's just a friendly rivalry, really.
I see nothing in common with these two.
So, anyway, I digress. So...
That was a deep rabbit hole.
But no, it's what this is all about. We talk about nerdy crap.
It's true.
And educate our muscular friend over here.
I went to the gym one time.
And came out a monster.
And
that's what everyone that does New Year's resolutions expects to happen. They'll go once and go, I don't look like that, and then they give up.
Pretty much.
Me.
You've been a couple times.
I've been going with you a lot. All right, and this is the next part of the show where we would like to jump into new entertainment news. Anything that's kind of just recently dropped that we would like to discuss. And something that dropped earlier this week was the Birds of Prey trailer. And from what I understand, you guys said you did watch the trailer. Starts off like it, and then Margot Robbie pops the balloons with her hammer. It's more of a teaser. It's not really a full
I was going to
trailer.
say, because I feel that it was only, 10 seconds of maybe something after she pops the balloons.
Well,
like, you don't really see much. There's no
It was
story,
hard to make out of what was going on.
Okay.
In my opinion, you saw the full title, right? The title is super long. Like, super obnoxiously
What is
long.
it? It's Birds of Prey and something of Harley Quinn.
So, Birds of Prey and the fantabulous anticipation of one Harley Quinn.
That's exciting. She's a fun character.
Big title.
It's a big title. But, I mean, if they were going to focus on somebody, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is an excellent choice.
Yes. Yeah. I just, I'm not one of those nerds that really rips movies apart. I just see them for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
This one seems off because I can't tell if it's like a continuation of how Suicide Squad went or if they're just ignoring it and going, here's like a whole other thing, even though we're using the same character or what. Like, the teaser seemed like it had the same kind of feel to it.
Right.
But the director, fun fact, I've never heard of her. Her name is Kathy Yan. Directed 3 shorts, 1 movie, and now she's on this.
So there's hope for us yet.
I don't know. We've done quite a bit, and we're still...
so I have a question for the nerds that are going to be much smarter than I am on this. So Birds of Prey. So is this... In comic book history or in the history of superheroes within the DC world, has there already been Birds of Prey? So are they pulling from stuff that's already kind of out there? Like, and if so, what characters would normally fall into this? Or is this totally like this new thing that they're just making?
Yes, no, this has existed. Yeah. However, from what I understand, the comics I read, Harley wasn't part of the Birds of Prey. She, I think in this movie, she kind of gets, roped in a little, like Suicide Squad happened. But Birds of Prey consisted of, Black Canary, the Huntress.
Black Canary, Huntress,
Batgirl.
And Batwoman, I think, too.
Yeah.
But I do believe that Harley and some of the villains were also part of it at one point.
I feel like it's a rotating
change out.
roster.
Yeah. Okay. Don't quote me on this because I'm not an expert on Birds of Prey. I do read comic books, but this is not one that I've ever, dove into.
Sexist.
Now the whole world's
There's no
gonna think I'm
muscular
sexist.
men in tights, and you're not going to pick it up.
I was going to say...
That says more about you than the comic.
You're probably right. That's why I have to sit so close to Ben during these podcasts.
I'm joking. But yeah, so, I mean, just like even the Avengers, the roster always rotates.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like Justice League, the roster always rotates. It's the same thing. It's a group.
And Harley has been part of the Birds of Prey. And I think Catwoman has too, actually.
Yeah, they all.
Yeah. So do we have an idea of who's going to be in this group that they're creating right now outside of Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn?
So I yanked the IMDb. If you know stuff off the top of your head, Jeremy, go for it. But
so I do know that they've included Huntress and Black Canary.
Okay.
In the roster. I apologize. I don't know the actresses who are playing those two characters. I'm not familiar with their names yet.
Black Canary is played by Journey Smollett Bell. I don't know the name off the top of my head there.
Mm-mm.
The Huntress is Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Oh, right. From Scott Pilgrim and many other great films.
And my favorite casting choice out of this, aside from Margot Robbie, is who they got to play Black Mask, Ewan McGregor.
Oh, yeah. That's been some big news.
So this is going to be a good movie, is what we're saying.
I just hope for one moment in this movie where he goes,
"Hello there."
Wow.
He's been holding that clip forever.
Pulled that clip.
Can I hear that one more time?
Hello there.
So all the Birds of Prey drop in. Hello there.
I love Ewan McGregor as an actor. I think he's fantastic. I cannot wait to me it was a weird choice for him to play Black Mask, but I totally agree with it. I think it's going to be amazing.
So explain to me a little bit about Black Mask.
There's a lot of different renditions with him. The sad part is he's not really referred to in movies much, which is why I'm excited about this. He's in my opinion one of my favorite villains. He's more of like how Jack Nicholson's Joker was. He's like the gangster. And he's more of a mob guy. He runs the criminal underground in Gotham a lot. He's like a head guy, like Penguin.
Okay.
So he's like one of Penguin's rivals, I would say. But he's got a huge temper issue. He has a mask. Again, different variations. The one I got used to was it's like welded to his head.
Sounds painful.
Well, he can't get it off, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the reason is he becomes scarred at one point, and I don't remember how that happens in the comic books. There were several renditions, I believe, but essentially he uses it to cover the fact that his face is mostly just it's almost like skull-like, kind of like Red Skull, how his face looks, but his mask is black and like actually like attached to his face.
So more bony, unlike the avocado, the old school avocado, or the old avocado that Ryan Reynolds had as Deadpool.
Yeah.
Okay. And even though it's not a popular game, I love Arkham Origins, only because Black Mask was a huge part of that.
Yeah.
And then they kind of steered it away from it, which disappointed me.
He's never been... I mean, in the comic books, he's been a major villain, but like in popular media, like visual media, he has not been.
Which is sad. He's super visually interesting because he wears a clean suit, like I'm talking straight mafia, like a white suit to go against the Black Mask.
He's an OG, so he's an OG.
Oh, dude, he's great.
But the thing is that Black Mask has never been anything like supernatural compared to like some of the other villains. Like he's not the Joker, who is arguably Batman's most interesting villain. Or like Riddler, who's also incredibly smart, but he's just a mobster that Batman continually fights against, and his best power is that he's just very influential in the criminal underground.
Yeah, think like Luther, oh yeah, you get pinned, but he's got the money to get.
And he doesn't have like the interesting like gadgets or like the little like, like the penguin rockets that like Penguin has, like,
the umbrella that can do anything. I could fly away with that thing.
So Black Mask. Bold choice. I don't think I've really seen Ewan play a villain, so I'm super stoked about that. If he's played one before, I have not watched it. But I think he's a really good actor, and frankly, just because I grew up on Star Wars, seeing him in the least favorite movies, he was like part of that light that made the movies enjoyable for me. He was an actor that I enjoyed watching in the prequels, which added to why I liked them.
Right.
Like there's a lot that took away from them, but he was one of the things that added to him for me.
Right.
So do you feel that there's? I mean, you said there's been a lot of different renditions of this character since this character was created. So do you feel that because of that, they're going to be able to really play with it, or do you feel? I mean, either one of you guys, do you feel that there's a certain direction that they're going to go with this character?
I have no idea. That's why I brought up the director. She's made one feature. And then she gets this.
The teaser,
so.
yeah, the teaser is really good, and I like the clips they do show of Ewan McGregor in it. he looks like a villain. I'm very excited to see what happens and where it goes, but I think we'll have to wait for a little more information before we can.
I just hope they don't go the route of, at the end he becomes scarred and then he dons the mask. No, I want it happening at least at the beginning, if not mid.
Yeah, well, I definitely don't think it happens at the beginning. But.
Or maybe he already. Maybe it's
or he's already established.
You know, that's kind of big right now in superhero movies.
I don't like it when they set up
them in.
Yeah, I don't like it when they set up a villain that you're like, yes, but then they go, oh, the movie didn't do well, and then you never see anything else of it.
Yeah.
I hate that. Which I get it. Well, I mean, movies are business and they have to make money, and if they didn't make money, they're not going to risk it again. But it's
all going to be it's going to be dependent on where DC decides to take their films now that, you know, some of their big players aren't in the industry, because I mean they lost Henry Cavill. Is he out?
It's still been up in the air for me.
I
don't
think
know if
he's still
confirmed.
just.
Yeah, I think
Ben Affleck's.
I know he took some time off to do other stuff, and then Ben Affleck's gone.
Yeah,
which
is upsetting.
I'm sad about that.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people weren't on board with Ben Affleck's Batman, but I appreciated Ben Affleck's Batman. I really enjoyed him. To me he felt more like the Batman animated series Batman.
I couldn't agree more. I think anyone that grew up in the 90s, early 2000s with those Batman, you know, that like that animated series that you're talking about. I mean, there was moments in that movie that he was built like a running back, you know, a little bit taller, but, you know, just a big, broad guy. He fought like that, you know. He wasn't this little... I don't know. I just think that there are moments in that movie that, to me, brought me back to the 8-year-old that used to watch the cartoon.
Right.
You know,
exactly. And that's actually... that's the sad fact is, like, a lot of people... that rip movies apart are looking for that same feeling, and they're so picky about everything that they'll just tear movies apart because they're like, that's not what I remember or what I expect it to be. Whereas us, that's why I like going to movies with you, because you and I just sit down and watch it for what it is.
Yep.
And we're like, oh, that was good, or oh, you know, that could have.
And that's how you should go to movies. Like that's like there should be some nostalgia there, and it's great if they play to it, but. At the end of the day, like each movie is kind of its own standalone thing, and you should go to it and just enjoy it, in my opinion. I haven't always been able to do that. There are a few movies in particular that I'm just like,
too attached.
You've ruined everything that this was based on.
Which we will make that movie.
We're not going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about
some point.
We're not going to talk about that.
We won't do that today.
You're going to have to defend it.
it.
You're going to have to say why it's such an amazing thing.
I'm going to rig the game.
I will cheat the coin. I will lose. On purpose.
Well, the other thing I wanted to jump into real quick that it's recent, but it's been out for a little bit, is the latest Star Wars trailer. Did you watch it?
The Episode 9 trailer?
Episode 9, yes. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I don't know. I'm trying to think if I ever heard
it. Ends with Rey. Well, kind of, yeah, it ends with Rey.
With a red lightsaber?
Yes.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember. I don't remember,
So, jumping into that,
yeah,
I think JJ has to really make a U-turn from the last movie because so many people ripped that apart and they didn't like it. And the sad part is JJ set up a lot of things that Rian Johnson didn't really follow through on. So, I don't know if JJ's course correcting or if he's just trying to kind of work with what he's got.
Well, there's some interesting stuff in that trailer. And
yeah,
there's this, and I need to watch it again because I've recently been seeing this go around YouTube where people are talking about how Palpatine has, like, it's confirmed that Palpatine is coming back from like the original.
You hear his voice at the end of the eighth one, right?
At the end of the eighth
one? The last one that they just did, don't you hear him? I thought that isn't his voice that comes.
It's his laugh.
It's his
laugh.
laugh.
It's his laugh at the end of the trailer.
And they have the actor, like, at the Star Wars celebration, the actor came out on stage and was like,
So that's, I think it'd be interesting because there's a lot of different theories going around that Palpatine is trying to come back from like being a Force spirit and trying to, and that he's been manipulating things from the shadows,
which would be kind of cool. Yeah. I think I'd be okay with that.
So the other interesting thing about this is that I don't know if I'll be getting Disney Plus. I probably will, just so I can watch this one show. But The Mandalorian is coming to Disney Plus, and The Mandalorian is exploring the years in between the time that the Empire fell and the establishment of the First Order. So,
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's sweet.
That'll be interesting. I'd love to see how that ties together. I think Jon Favreau is directing that show.
Yes, he is.
And I love Jon Favreau as director. He's one of my favorites. So that should be an interesting time exploration, because it sounds like what happened is that after the Empire fell, the Empire had like its own like civil war within it, and then one faction came out ahead, and so the Mandalorian is going to explore some of that
among a new character that they're introducing.
Yeah,
that's a
so,
bounty hunter,
but not Boba Fett. A lot of people are thinking that the show's about Boba Fett, and it's not. So,
which I'm fine with. I mean, here's the thing: like, I would love for them to make like a spin-off movie like they did for Solo for Boba at some point, just to kind of show how things went from him after he got older after Episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool to see how he shaped his life to become a bounty hunter. I mean, I think canon states that he gets out of the Sarlacc pit, but as we noticed, the movies do not give a crap about the canon. They were like, here's the books but we're not going to do any of that, because they wanted to be fresh. They wanted to do something that not everybody could anticipate.
Right.
So I don't think we'll see a post-Empire Boba.
I get from a creative standpoint, but I think it would have been fun to tell some of the older stories, too, from the old canon. I would have loved to have seen, like, if any of you guys have played... the Old Republic games.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to have seen like a Revan storyline.
Yeah.
For the audience who's listening, they don't know who Revan is. He's one of the older Jedis from the Old Republic before the movies, like even before the prequel movies. And he went from being a Jedi to being a Sith to being a Jedi again. And his storyline, I think, was really interesting because he was one of the few Jedi in history that learned how to balance both the light and dark side of the Force and use it to his advantage. So
they did announce they are developing an Old Republic.
I did know
movie. I think it's a movie.
I don't know, but there's not enough details about it to know what they're going to focus on. If they do touch on Revan, I think that would be fantastic.
Which is good. There's not enough surprise in this world anymore. I hate it when trailers drop everything, and I'm like, okay. Like, a lot of times I just won't watch the trailers much anymore because I'm like, it reveals too much.
Right.
But, I mean, I couldn't help myself with that Endgame. I was like, oh, I need more of this. And they did a good job. They hit all the important stuff in there.
Well, and you read the book, Endgame. Excuse me, no, my brain went...
What book were you referring to?
For whatever reason, my brain went to Ready Player One.
Yeah. Well, same thing. I was obsessed with those trailers, but I mean, another example of book going to movie, you can only cram so much in.
Right.
Because people aren't going to sit through like a 3-hour movie easily. But yes.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Well, then we will segue into the last segment of our podcast here. It is a more of an argument than a game, in my opinion, but we'll treat it like a game. That our good friend Ben came up with. It's called Does It Stand?
Does it stand?
And in this segment of Does It Stand, we assign two people on the podcast a movie. In this case, the movie is Cloverfield. And what will happen is we will flip a coin, and someone will call heads. That was a massive coin.
It's a 50-cent piece. Have you never held or seen?
No, I have not held one.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I haven't seen one in a while.
That's when you go gambling and you play 21. If you get blackjack, they'll hand them to you.
Oh no, I've seen these. Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
I've seen someone carrying.
You can get it I mean, there's $2 bills too. That's a real.
I've seen
thing.
I've seen $2 bills. Sorry, we totally went down a rabbit hole there. The game. We flip a coin. For example, if Ben calls heads, we'll say heads either defends or tears down the movie. Wherever he gets, the two people will argue about the movie about why it stands or why it doesn't.
Ben's preparing his notes. He took notes on the movie.
And despite how you feel about the movie, you either have to support it or tear it down depending on what the coin lands on. So, Ben's prepared. I'm going to let you call the coin. All right, so I'm going to call heads supports the movie.
Okay.
So, what do you want, heads or tails?
Oh,
looks at me. Okay.
Well, no, you wouldn't call it. It's just you're going to flip it now, and if it's heads,
I get to choose which.
I don't think you get to choose. I think
you can choose. You can say
I think when you flip that coin, if it's heads up, he gets to defend the movie. If it's tails up, he gets to tear it
but this
down.
still gives him the opportunity to go. Oh, I hope I can defend the movie.
Oh, I hope I can defend a movie because I actually like the movie.
Okay. I do too. That's going to make it really rough.
So that's fine. One of us is going to be sad
right here.
That's okay. I'll do either one.
Okay, so heads defends.
Heads defends.
All right. Jeremy defends.
Ah, yes.
All right.
I'll let Ben do the start of why this movie sucks. Why he does not like it.
Are we good to go? We're going.
We're good to go. On your go.
It's a love story. If you think about it, right?
So it is. I just think it's funny how you start that.
And I mean, the movie would have been a lot better had we seen a lot more of. I'm gonna horribly butcher her name, but Odette Annabelle.
Oh wow, he wrote down the actress.
I did.
Wow.
I did my homework, homie. There just wasn't enough of her in that movie. And
you mean Beth?
Beth, yeah, Beth. And it talk about a love story, right? So then, a guy loses girl, guy has to go find girl, but in the process of trying to save girl's life, big monster tearing down the city, and friends are dying. It's a horrible love story. That's shot on a shaken handheld camera.
That is an interesting take. And I would argue that that's actually correct. It is a terrible love story.
Way to defend the movie.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think it was meant to be more of like a horror suspense movie. So from that perspective, it's great because even though you do see the monster, like the way that the camera works in that, and because it's handheld, kind of like the Blair Witch. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm assuming everybody's seen this movie because it was
2008, I believe.
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah.
I'll fact check that.
So in that regard, there's enough of it, like the camera doesn't show certain things at certain moments that you're just like, it's very suspenseful to me. And I think that's great. Like, and then you don't know anything about the monster, like, because these are people in the street who don't have access to like top secret government information, or they don't know what's going on. You never really see anything on the news either. Just you get these little tidbits of like this monstrous entity tearing through your city. And you're just a person on the street. And I think from that perspective of someone who's just trying to survive in that moment, it's really suspenseful.
So let's
not to interject real quick, but just you call it 2008.
2008.
And fun fact about the movie, like it seems like a lot of money to us, but when it comes to big budget movies, it was only made for $25 million.
That's nothing.
And it grossed 170. So it totally came out in the green.
It was a good movie. But going back to tearing it down. So it was a love story.
I totally just undercut you. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So it's a love story that T.J. Miller, also known as Hood in that movie, narrated for us.
HUD, not Hood.
HUD.
Like HUD.
Yeah, I
like
even wrote
heads up
that.
Display.
HUD, yeah.
I watched it this morning.
I did. But, so T.J. Miller narrates the entire movie for us in the most annoying way possible. We all have that friend that's like that too. That you're just like, shut up. God, I was really prepared to like defend this movie. So you only ever, the monster, you want more of it. Which sucks because you're just like, you feel let down. And in the sense of you never see, there's a handful of moments like when they're in the helicopter, when they're running around, like, and you see it, but for it being a creature feature, if we're going to say it's not a love story, or it's a love story with a creature, like you just don't see that creature that much. And so I think that I was really prepared to defend this movie. Just tearing it down rough because I like it. We're going to move away from the creature camera work. It would make some... You know what I mean? With them running around, it makes you sick. It feels like you're there, but it's also like, you get a headache, and I don't know. You can go. I'm running. I got to formulate something to talk about.
He was really prepared to defend this movie.
He was so prepared. This was your game. You should have prepared for both sides.
I prepared for both sides. That's why I watched it twice. I watched it once for defense and then once to tear it down.
Right. Well,
tips for next time.
Well, you're better than I am.
I know this is a podcast, but if you guys can see the look on Ben's face.
I know. It's priceless. All
right. Well, what else? What's some other good things about this movie?
So back to the thing about the monster. I agree that it could have been more, but that's something I think that horror movies always get that's super weird about horror movies. If you were a random person on the street, the monster wouldn't always be in your face. Like if you get like a movie that's like, you're alone in the cabin in the woods and there's a murder or whatever. Sure. The murder's going to come after you because you're the only people in the woods. But like in movies where there's a giant monster and, you're in a city, of course, it's not always going to be near you. Like it's not targeting you specifically. And I think that's what made the movie feel more realistic, is that if you were a person running and documenting this moment in time, you would not be near the monster if you could help it.
Running away and hiding.
You'd be running away and hiding. As for T.J. Miller's narration during the whole movie, I think it was necessary. Like, I'm glad that they threw that character in there, because you're right that we like it does kind of like it would be annoying in that moment, but at the same time, how many of us have ever been in like a very like horrific, like, you know, end of the world type moment? Like, would you not want to talk about it? Because I certainly would. But in that end of the world type moment, I think it was great that they added him in there, because the audience did need to know some things, and they wanted you to like think about things. So when HUD's speculating about the origin of the monster, or when he's just, you know, talking randomly and just shouting, that's how it would be. And I think it was good that they threw that in there, because if they just had a silent character behind the camera, it wouldn't be interesting.
That'd be boring.
It'd be boring.
You wouldn't know what's going on because it's a handheld shaking camera that keeps pointing at the ground, so you don't get to see things. And I mean, that's how they're hiding their cuts and stuff. I mean, you know, from the film world, I mean, it's very clever because you can hide a lot of cuts. You can hide. I mean, because there's no way you can film that movie in one take, in one
continuous take. The camera shakiness, that is everyone's biggest complaint with the movie. But once again, I think it was all about putting you in that moment, you know. And I think that it was a good choice for that particular movie, for the way it was done. I wouldn't want to see like Batman shot that way, you know, or like the Avengers. But in a monster horror film where you're like you want to have people feel like they're in that scenario, I think it was a great choice. It was very interesting at the time. The only movie who had done it before, to my knowledge, was the Blair Witch Project.
I think Quarantine came out right before that, didn't it?
I don't remember. I'm not a huge horror movie guy.
No, before
Cloverfield.
Before Cloverfield.
But Blair Witch was terrifying just because it was shot from that, you know, like personal view. Like it really made you feel like you were the person behind the camera, you know?
Well, I guess, and it gives you less of that perspective, because that cone of what you can see is so much smaller.
Exactly.
It's just right what that little camera is seeing.
Especially like in the Blair Witch, because they were shooting because it was at night most of the time when they were outside. Like you had to look through the camera so you could see, like that narrow cone of vision made it all the more terrifying. And the same in Cloverfield, like that narrow cone of vision, even though the monster was much bigger and there was more light and you could see more.
Sometimes it was kind of dark and
sometimes like in the tunnel scene, the subway tunnel scene, that was terrifying. Like that's one of those like you hear the chittering and you're like, oh gosh, you know there's something out there, and they like can't see it because you can't even see it beyond like their little like flashlight, right? Because flashlights like narrow your vision in the dark.
Oh yeah.
But then they turn on the night vision and
the rats are running
and they're like, oh my gosh. Like I think that was a fantastic moment in the movie. Yeah.
I was really prepared to talk this movie up.
You're gonna make the segment real short.
I know.
I'm gonna argue against myself.
I feel really bad.
Just to buy you a second of time. So Cloverfield again, January 16, 2008. Quarantine, October 10th, 2008. So they're like riding on each other's heels.
So this is almost like one of those. I mean, I know it's totally two different creature type features, but it's like the was it Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down or whatever those two movies were that came out like at the same time. And I just think they wanted to use the same set. And I just think, you know, because it's pretty much the same movie with different characters.
Just real quick, between those two movies, which one did you like better?
Oh,
before you give your answer, one is continuously getting sequels, and the other only made one movie.
Well, I have a man crush on Gerard Butler, and especially back then, I was all about it. So,
who doesn't have a man crush on Gerard Butler?
I'm
sorry, Jared Butler, as he would say it.
Jared Butler.
Scottish. Is he Scottish?
Yeah, he's Scottish. I think.
Scottish.
I think he's our generation Sean Connery. I don't know. I'm gonna say it. I'm putting it out there.
Wow.
I think that he exudes that manliness, and then you bring him back to like P.S. I Love You, and so he can also be like just a cool, genuine, like he can be the badass, or he can be like the dude you want your daughter to date. You know, I think.
Don't forget those comedic roles like the Bounty Hunter.
What was the other one? The Ugly Truth. Like I think. I mean, as an actor, he's a phenomenal. Going back to Olympus Has Fallen. Not just because the sequels, which are awesome, and I can't wait to see the third installment. But I mean, that movie just it was fun. It was cool.
Future goals: have Jared Butler on the show.
Is this your way of getting away from having to tear down the movie?
You noticed that, huh? Let's see here. Going back to that character development. I mean, really, there wasn't too much overall character development in that movie. I mean, a lot of times you want to see that those character arcs. You know, I mean, you have your 3 acts throughout the movie, and within each act, things need to happen to make that overall arc of the story good. And then each character needs to have their pitfalls and their belly of the whale. Even if it's not that hero's journey, those characters still need to have their obstacles they need to push through. And the dude, Michael David, we'll call him Michael Stahl David, I think, who played Rob Hawkins. His character, I would say, would be the only one that really we saw that change in. And not that the other characters were throwaway, but at the same time, we never saw those characters evolve or change. I mean, TJ Miller was TJ Miller the entire time until he got picked up by the creature at the end and then
Spoilers.
dropped. Hashtag if you haven't seen it yet, life sucks.
That's one way to warn somebody, I guess.
Yeah. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. I mean, we're not ruining too much of it. I mean, it's a giant creature destroying Manhattan.
They've had 11 years.
You've had 11 years.
Yeah.
But like when you look at these other characters, that you didn't see them evolve through the movie. Lizzie Kaplan, I hope I pronounced that properly, who she played, I think it was like Marlena Diamond or something, who TJ Miller's character was all about.
Mm-hmm.
I feel she was the same person from the time she got there to the time she got bit by the creature to the time she popped.
Spoilers again.
Spoilers. I just, and then I mean some of those other characters like the brother and then the brother's girlfriend, and they were the same people throughout. I mean, to an extent. I mean, I guess when something traumatic would happen, they'd curl up into a little ball and be covered in dust and have a moment. And I don't know. I mean, you never saw anyone except for that main dude trying to get to the girl love story who he always wanted to be with, but never did. Finally had the opportunity, messed it up as he was leaving to go to Japan. And so his character was the only one that we saw change.
This would have been, the character development would have been my biggest argument if I were the other side as well. Good job, Ben. Good for touching on that.
Yay.
I love how you guys are supporting each other's sides. Because the whole determining factor here is who makes the best argument. But when you make comments like, he's right.
it's a safe space.
But here. Yeah, this is a safe space here. But not really. But to that point, though, that you were making, I would argue that the character development, how much character development can you have in a panic situation like that over the course of 6-7 hours? Because the movie takes place over like 7-ish hours. There's not really much you can do in that time, and you wouldn't as real life people, because the movie, the setting for the movie is these are real life people in an emergency situation. How much of that swing, how much of that arc could you have in those 7 hours while your main focus is to run, hide, and survive? Like, it's not really, even though it's about the characters, it's not about them personally. It's about following their survival story.
I kind of agree, but I don't know. Like, so you fall into 3 things, right? In those situations, fight, flight, or freeze. And so, so you're either running away from the creature, you're fighting the creature, which isn't going to happen in this.
I was going to say, there's one more. And it's 2 things: scream and wet your pants.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would be more afraid of those little guys that were coming because they're small, quick, and you're their food size. Like, that big guy.
He didn't care.
Like, he didn't even, you're an ant to him.
Yeah.
But within that, during that fight, whether you're fighting, flight, or you're running away, or you're freezing, whether it's you curl up into that ball. And I know it only takes place over that 8 hours. Still, though, for a good story, and whether you want to say, well, in the real world versus, movie land, I think that they still could have done a better job of evolving those characters,
At least give you something to care about.
Giving you something to care about, right. Because if they're continually the same person, there's no growth. I mean, whether one of those characters would have become a worse person in that situation, and it would have been more about their survival versus the group survival,
mm-hmm.
or whether you saw more people standing up and becoming not necessarily that hero, because it's not a hero's journey. That movie is not about somebody standing up and beating up this monster, but I don't know. It was a lot of people panically running around, which is cool because that's what that movie's supposed to be. But at the same time, those characters we could have seen. I mean, I don't really know what T.J. Miller's character could have done differently, because I think he was exactly who they needed him to be. Like you said earlier, he's telling the story because it needs to. And to me, he just reminds me of everybody has that one friend who is annoying, says the wrong thing at the wrong times, but means well. So I as much as that character annoyed me, I enjoyed him. But I don't know. I feel that those other characters could have evolved either in a good way or a bad way. I think we could have seen more character growth, or I don't know, detriment. Like the characters could have dissolved. I don't know. I just feel that it could have been character change.
All right, I want to roll this into what I want to call a final argument.
Okay.
So you'll just summarize your last thoughts about the whole thing and like the punchline of why it's either good or why it's bad, and then
do you want to address the jury first?
I think you should go first. I started this shebang, so I think you should.
Okay. So my argument as why it's a great movie is that it's even though it has the love story aspect, it's not really a love story. It's a suspense thriller horror movie. And because it's trying to tell the story from a realistic perspective, most people wouldn't have a growth arc in that 8 hours. They would. It's meant to follow real people who are in a life or death situation. And in those moments, what are their thoughts? What are their motivations for doing the actions that they do in the movie? So Rob is trying to save Beth. That's the one thing he thinks about. Can't think about anything else. He barely, touches on the fact that his brother died or anything like that. He's super hyper focused on his survival, the survival of his friends, and the survival of Beth. The others in the group, same thing. All they want to do is survive, and they want to save their friend. I think that the reason it's a good movie is because that's a realistic scenario with realistic reactions. I feel like that's the kind of like individualistic story that you would see in those moments. Everybody would panic and run, but some people would be trying to save other people. Some people would not be trying to save other people. And it's a fantastic, just realistic version of what would happen in that situation versus what a horror movie is, which is telling a story. This is more like a documentary.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna throw something back at you. I don't think Rob cared anything about his friends. I agree he was hyper-focused on finding his potential girlfriend or friend. I think the other two, I don't think he cared as much about them. I think it was find the girl, go get the girl. I think the other two followed. Well, originally it was more than two, but they kind of, petered off. I think they followed because that's how it had to be for them to be in the movie. I don't think they were there to go get their friend. I don't think they were as all about it as like he was. I think they were just there to be there. Not that they were throwaway characters, but I think they followed him because it was the easiest course of action versus something else. But why this movie sucks.
Was that not it?
No,
I was like, you kind of went off a little.
That was me just
statement.
kind of, yeah. So that was back to the whole character thing.
These are final thoughts, Ben.
Final thoughts. Okay. So I feel that we could have seen more injured people from especially the little monsters. We saw like that one bite. It would have been cool to see a lot more devastation of what those little guys were doing. Graphics wise, I feel I'm gonna group that in with camera work because the handheld shaking cam and the fact that camera obviously they want to look like a normal handheld camera. I feel that we potentially missed things because that camera wasn't picking up as good of detail. Low light made an issue. I mean, granted, it could add to the whole suspense of the movie, but I feel we missed things because of that. We already hit on character. Story had a beginning and a middle and an end, I guess. Rob really liked the girl that he almost missed the opportunity with, and then I won't tell you how it ends, but yeah. So I mean, there's a story. I wouldn't say it's the world's best story. The monster was cool and unique, but we didn't really get to see too much of him. Action, I feel that we missed a lot of the cool explosions and the action, because instead of actually being able to see the cool explosions and the action, the camera just kept sweeping away from it. So I feel we missed out on potentially really awesome, cool Michael Bay type scenes. That's all I got.
All right, time. So before I go into, because I base all of my decisions on just the argument, not how I personally feel about the movie.
Yeah.
Myself, exactly what you were saying. Like, I hated this movie for a long time because I didn't view it as a film. I wasn't really in the film world at the time. I was like, I'm not seeing the monster. This is a waste of time. I hate the shaky cam. Like, this is stupid. I don't care about the people. I care about the monster.
Right.
And I go back and rewatch after getting into filming, and then I start appreciating a lot of the stuff they do. I'm like, oh, that's clever. Oh, they just saved a bunch of money by looking away from the monster.
25 million, not 26.
So there's just a lot of clever bits that you have to actually look for. Like Steven, another director that we are friends with, he loves this movie. And when I was telling him I didn't like it, he's like, go back and watch this and look for stuff like this. He pointed out to me something that I just found crazy, and there's theories about it. Nothing's ever been confirmed with it, but at the end of the movie, because during the movie, the footage cuts between a tape that's already in the camcorder, so you see like part of the day that the guy and his girl were on. They were like on a date day.
You're talking about the thing dropping into the ocean.
So at the end, you see something plop into the ocean, and we don't know if that's something that any creatures were in, or if it hit something at the bottom of the ocean that woke the creature up.
Have you seen the third movie?
Yeah, but I didn't fully understand how that triggered
it. I think it answers that question.
I didn't get that either.
Yeah, because like there was so much going on in that third movie. I was like, what the freak is going on?
We should do the second movie next week, because I loved the second movie. I thought that was super interesting. It wasn't my favorite way to tell the story, and I honestly almost to the end, I didn't think they were going to be related. And then at the end, you're just like,
well, the second movie, the monster is something else.
I know.
It's the monster.
It's great.
It's like the opposite of Resident Evil.
Did the third movie explain it? Like, I get there's a shift in the dimensions. But it's like, it just shows up. That's what threw me off.
The third movie was incredibly confusing, and I didn't think I don't think it accomplished what it set out to do, which was to explain the whole Cloverfield incident. Like it could have been done in a different way.
The basic of what I walked away from that movie was there was a shift that they were messing with dimensional stuff, and then all of a sudden they just opened the gateway for that creature. That's, in my opinion, like not to. I love Cloverfield, but like that's a lazy out to me.
Yeah,
I thought there was more with that satellite, and like I'm just gonna ignore.
Anyway, back to that last scene where something drops in the water.
Yes. So anyway, something drops in the water at the end of the movie, and then the movie ends, and it's like, it's. Before all these Cloverfield sequels exist, this movie existed, so it left audiences to go, oh, what was that? And it's so subtle that most people didn't even notice it.
Mm-hmm.
It took friends to go, hey, look at this. Did you see that? And you're like, oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, here's something to think about, too. So that thing drops in the water because that date was, 2 weeks ago is what they were saying? Like, that's when those two hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to say, we'll pretend... We'll assume that was like the day that led up to the night that, they knocked boots. So are we saying that monster was just hanging out for 2 weeks?
It could have been dormant or something. I don't know. That's the thing.
Bumped its head and was unconscious.
I was hoping for other explanations. But
I actually don't know what you're talking about by that last moment.
You can see it. You know when they're on the Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
After the podcast, I'll pull up the clip on YouTube. Because it's people. That's what I'm saying. People are so obsessed with it. They like.
Something falls into the water.
Yeah, you just watch it shoot across the camera and hit the water and see a splash, and then the camera turns to those two, and then that's how the movie ends.
I've never noticed that, and all the times I've watched it.
It's clever. Like there's clever bits throughout the movie that I like.
Anyway, and there are a lot of
back
things.
To the decision.
Yeah.
Argument wise, I mean, I'm just gonna have to say, Ben. Sorry, but
no, don't be.
Like you came so ill-prepared. Like Jeremy had some good points because he was ready to rock it the same way you were. You weren't prepared to attack it.
It was rough because I truly enjoy the movie.
Argument-wise, you did have some good points though. Like again, I agree as someone that's not even in the film world, which a lot of people that may listen to this aren't. Will go, that was crap because I don't like that they didn't show the monster. Like it's dark. I don't get it. Filmmaker looking wise, it's like, oh, that's brilliant. They did all this stuff because it's artfully tasteful. It helps give that anticipation to the audience. Oh, where is it? Like they're like, no, shift it up so I can see it. Like I get where it comes from. So I appreciate it in a new light after watching it. Argument wise though, you just like didn't have enough points like to kind of tear it down.
You did good, bud.
And I agree. I think I could have done a better job tearing it down, 8 years ago before I was in the film industry, because it's you see this movie and I mean you've already said it, and Jeremy, correct me if you think I'm wrong. You really see this movie in a different way, like you said, Wes, once you're in the film industry, because you appreciate those cuts, because you can see those cut moments when they're sweeping the camera. You can understand why they're trying to build that tension and the whole lighting in the subway and the movement. I mean, that, not that shaking cameras for everybody and it doesn't work in every movie like we talked about, but I think, now that we're not playing the game, I don't think this movie would have been nearly as good had you shot it normal. I think that it would have lost so much of what made it special. It puts you there, like you said. And
so, as someone who just got into film, so I should just preface this by saying that I've only been in the film industry for about 3 years, and I'm just an actor. And while I have been studying, cinematography and directing and all that stuff, in my perspective, I watch it the same. So I do watch movies differently now, because I can say, oh, that's a great cut, or I can say, oh, I see why they made this choice, or this or that. But for Cloverfield, for whatever reason, when I watch it, I still watch it like the same way that I did when I first saw it in 2008. For me, it's just this is like fascination with just survival in that moment, I don't really watch it as like a movie goer. I watch it more like a documentary. Like if I had found that camera and I was watching the playback, I'd just be like enthralled,
sucked in, yeah,
just sucked into the story.
If you found that camera, you'd be like, what happened?
Oh my gosh! How come this wasn't on the news?
Yeah. So for me, like watching it now that I'm in the film industry didn't make that much of an impact differently from the way I watch it. I've always appreciated this movie. Even when I wasn't in the film industry, I always appreciated this movie for how it was shot, because I have always lived for interesting stories. And even though this didn't have like the great character development, like you said, or anything like that, I felt like it was still an interesting story because of the way it was told. Because It was told as a survival situation in 7 hours, like 7 hours of surviving on the streets with a giant alien monster attacking or whatever it was. Like, you wouldn't know. You would just be terrified and the whole time, like, until you found safety. And then maybe you could go back and like have those, like, because in most horror movies you have moments of safety where like you can do some character development. You have those like slight down moments.
Right.
It's not just constant suspense and survival. You have those moments where the characters are sitting together and they're hiding. They found a place they think is safe so they can have those conversations. There's not a lot of that in this movie.
And I feel that it taking place in Manhattan also makes it that much more awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking a huge creature, heavy, the population there. It's it's a highly dense population.
Well, it's not even that. Just like if you take a monster movie and place it in like Wisconsin,
right?
It doesn't like the monster just looks overly obnoxious because Wisconsin isn't full of skyscrapers and things like that.
Yeah.
Skyscrapers definitely add to the scale of the monster and go, oh, that thing's like.
Well, but think about it this way. So that happened in like Colorado somewhere, like even in one of the bigger cities in Colorado, Denver, Colorado Springs. It wouldn't have been the same movie, and it's not just because we don't have subways and we're not next to the ocean, but Manhattan, you that claustrophobia because those buildings are so together and tall, and when he has to climb to the 34th floor to get the girl, I feel like in cities that don't have that structure, it's easier to just run away.
It is, because the thing is, like, you can see the monster the whole time. In a place like Manhattan, you can't see the monster the whole time. It disappears behind another building, and like it could come at you from any direction because it can come through the building. Whatever the case may be. There's just like a place like Manhattan is so interesting because it to put a big monster in, because not only does the size of the city give the monster scale,
right?
But it also makes it so that you can't always see it, which is scarier than just having it constantly in your vision. Like if you saw that coming at you here in like Colorado, like you could just like see,
get out the way.
Yeah, you just get out of the way. We'd just be like, that's a giant monster. We need to go the other way.
Need to leave.
Yeah. So that was rough. That was good job. I'm gonna shake your hand.
Thank you.
That was rough because I'm happy that we all enjoy that movie because
it's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
And there's a lot more to it than most people, I would say, see it at face value because it's a lot of
Well, just to announce it on the podcast, I already chose what I wanted to see next week.
Oh, okay.
Because I frankly, a lot of people don't give it the credit I think it deserves. So I'm curious to see your guys' opinion, whether you've seen it or not.
Okay.
And I would like to go with Netflix's Bright with Will Smith.
Oh, okay.
Love that movie.
That's a great
so
movie. I've
much.
seen, yeah.
A lot of people
didn't like it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So this will be interesting. This is another one that I think all three of us enjoyed. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of arguments we can
hope I can
And
defend
I know
it.
you're also stuck to it's on Netflix.
No. I hope I can defend because I love that movie.
Oh, well, you need to prepare twice, like Jeremy, because
I'm gonna have to
if
watch
you lose
it
the
9
coin
times.
toss,
Oh gosh. Okay.
I mean, I appreciate the whole you watched it twice. That's nuts. I just watch it once and just make notes on. Oh, that was weird.
I did that. It
was
worked
good.
out real well.
I had to watch it with two different mindsets because I knew the first time I watched it, I wasn't going to be thinking about it. I was just going to be enjoying the movie like I normally do. So like I watched it I had to intentionally watch it that second time with the idea that I'm going to find everything wrong with this movie.
Cool. Well, gentlemen, that is a wrap for our very first podcast.
Yeah.
So,
sound effects.
We'll prepare a whole new set of clips for next week's games, and hopefully some new entertainment news comes out as well that we'll jump into. But otherwise, you guys have a great week.
Yep. And thank you to everyone who listened to this. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. You rock.
And thank you to Jared Butler
for being amazing. I mean, you don't have.
Thank you for existing.
This has been Two Nerds and a Jock. Tune in next week for more nerdy content.